So what we're going to talk about is basically what I draw out on a back sheet of paper when I'm in the home with a client closing the estimate. So when I do this, I've already, done the entry in the greeting. I've done my logistics information. I've done the full inventory walkthrough. I've went ahead and sat down at the kitchen table, ran up all my numbers, put together my move coordination, and now I'm sitting with the client at the end and I'm basically presenting my proposal. So what I like to do to start is to tell the client, hey, I went through the numbers and, if you're using a software, you can say, my software gave me these numbers. Let me walk you through the steps of the move. And so I will start off by saying, okay, well, let me explain how we do our pricing. And so I would just do a quick little 1-2 or a 1-2-3. Maybe you just are doing an hourly, so you could explain that. We work hourly based on the information you gave me. I would go with 3 guys at blank per hour. And you can also insert here if you have any type of fuel fees, travel fees, right? So go through 1-2 or 1-2-3 on your pricing and say, based on my estimations, I'm figuring your move's probably going to take about 6 hours. The way that I see that going is in blank, you would explain the load phase, the drive, the unload, or whatever that is for that move. And I explained to them, we're going to do X, Y, Z here. We're going to wrap all your furniture, shrink wrap all the cushioned furniture in the home, pad all the wooden furniture. We'll use door jam, protect the door jams, protect high frequency areas, et cetera, et cetera. And then basically just draw out for them how you got 6 hours. So, if you think their load phase is going to take about 3 to 3.5 hours, it's going to be half an hour drive. And then you think the unloading is going to take an hour and a half to 2 hours, then that's where you're coming up with 6 hours. And when you explain all that, I then will come down and I'll talk about everything included. So if you've got any upsell on supplies, I'm not going to list out detail by detail on this kind of little stuff. What I will do is just show them a full large number, but their estimate will show this stuff item by item. And so then I'll come down here. So based on all that, if your move was exactly to take 6 hours, we'd be looking at a total right around 15. And I would write my full number. I circle it just like that. And then I kind of turn it over and I let the client digest that number. I let them consume that number and I pause. I let my client get a chance to process what I gave them. And then I want them to be the next person to talk. And then whatever they give me, I'm going to then respond based on what they give me. So if they say, okay, and it sounds fairly positive, then I'm going to go ahead and assume the sale. I'm going to say, okay, great. Well, it sounds like you guys were shooting for July 28th. I could do an 8 to 10 a.m. start time. How's that sound for you guys? Perfect. Boom. And you just straight assumed the sale and you went ahead and booked it. You didn't even ask for the sale. You just, boom, it's good. If you have any type of inclination that this is not in the price range they want to pay, you'll know because they're going to say, well, not really sure. We need to think about it, blah, blah, blah. And so that's when you go into your overcoming objections. And when you go into the overcoming objections, this is intended for you to, 1, loop back around and talk about value, what you're going to provide, a little bit of, anything, and it could be repetitive, but just reaffirming the value, because when value exceeds price, people buy. And that's all you're having to do. You're trying to exceed that value threshold. And so loop back, talk about your value, what you're going to provide, and then come back to the objection. So if they say, well, we really need to think about it, I say, okay, how long do you guys need to think about it? And they say, oh, we need a day. Okay. And then I'll do kind of a semi-trial close, and I'll say, okay, well, suppose that, you already had a day and you thought about it, do you guys have a price range in mind that you're budgeting for this project? And so what I'm trying to find is I'm trying to discover the price that they're more comfortable paying. And I need to know, are we close? You know, if they're like, well, we really wanted to pay $500, and I know that this is a $1,500 job, this might be a hard thing to bridge the gap on. And what I would totally come back and I would re-plan my move. I would give them essentially a different product or a different service. I would say, okay, you know, this is kind of a big gap. Why don't we look at a different option of maybe us doing loading only and try to come up with a solution where you can still get some money out of this lead? You know, maybe that's the way to go. But if they say, no, we were really looking around $1,000 to $1,200. Okay, that's fine. That's perfect. That means you're just outside of the window, which is great. That's great. And so you don't need to drop your price. All you need to do is identify the objection and say, and make sure that price is the only objection. And so the way you do that is isolation. And so what I will do is I will ask them, you know, I'll go through what I just said and I'll say, okay, you know, John, Mary, is there anything else outside of the price that would prevent you all from moving forward with us? You know, another way of saying that could be, okay, John and Mary, if I were able to get the price in that range, not saying I can, but if I was able to, would you guys be ready to book now? And so what you're doing is you're trying to isolate and make sure that is the real objection. And then once you do that, then you have the answer to the puzzle. So that's a little bit on the close, how to draw it out. There's a lot of ways to do this, but I try to keep it simple. It's all about the experience and it's all about the customer. You're trying to create a feeling within the customer, and a great thing to come back to, this is Sales 101, is develop that pain point. When they object to your 1,500 quote, remind them of what it's going to be like if they have to do it themselves, or if they hire someone that's less quality, which if they don't hire you, then they automatically are going to be hiring someone less quality, right? Because we're the best. And remind them of that pain point. Get them in that emotional state. Then once they are in the emotional state, right, they first have the emotions hit them, and then they got to back it with logic. Okay, you got to have both of these. For them to actually give you a credit card, they're going to have to back it with the logic. And so get in the emotional stage and then just flip over the switch and then give them the logic behind why this is a good decision and why they should go ahead and sign with you. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Go crush the day, move up your business.